Welcome to Embroidery News Network.
And welcome to the Embroidery Case Files, where we answer the question, is commercial store-bought embroidery better than home embroidery? My name is Sue, and this is Dawn, and we're going to try to answer the question today.
Hello, everyone. How's your tea?
It's delicious. How's your coffee?
Good.
Are you ready to get started on this?
Let's get at it.
Hey, fellow embroidery artists. The Embroidery Case Files is meant to be educational only. We want to show commercial errors in embroidery and how much people pay for these errors and how much you can improve your embroidery skills by not making these errors. We would like to raise the bar on embroidery and make it better. Let's go back and examine the stitches for this embroidery case file. Okay, so let's tell you the history of this, and we'll put up a nice picture that you can actually see it a little better. This was obviously the provincial championships, and it is a Gildan premium, so nothing fancy. She paid $120 for this embroidery.
Wow.
For this shirt. I know. And it's commercially done. Everybody on her team and all the parents and everybody bought it, and it's incredible. So what we'd like to do is point out some of the mistakes on it. Now I'm going to zoom in because I see quite a few. Do you see quite a few?
Yeah, I've seen a few already.
Yeah, it's not the worst I've seen. Certainly I've seen worse than this, but it's not the greatest. The first thing I'd like to point out in the overall picture in the corner right there, or right there, I'm not sure yet, is that it's crooked.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? There's a space here. It's crooked.
Yeah. The 5 is closer to the line here than the 2.
Yeah, we could measure it, but you know, once you get experienced at embroidery, you don't need to measure it.
Mind you, nobody's perfect, but you shouldn't be able to see it with the eye like that.
It should be lined up a little bit better. So that's the first thing. Make sure your embroidery is straight. And when you're doing hoodies, these are kind of big and they're kind of thick. And it takes a minute to, you know, pinpoint it and make sure you're in the middle of how it would look. But I think it's worth doing. Absolutely. So what do you see is the next problem?
I see a lot of the satin stitches are a little too narrow.
They look a little thin.
Some of the bobbins showing through on it, so it could be a tension problem, but also they are really narrow. They should have been made a little bit thicker, in my opinion. Satin
stitches shouldn't go below a certain amount, and they shouldn't go wider than a certain amount. So what would you say? Even I would have designed this differently, but if you only had satin stitches, I would suggest making them a little bit thicker, wouldn't you?
At least double the thickness, I would think.
At least double, because it looks to me like this whole design on top is the same thickness. So I think it would have had a better effect too if it was thicker satin stitches, and I think it would sit better on this kind of sweatshirt material.
Yeah, they kind of sink in a little bit because they're so thin.
Yeah, it kind of pulls on. Yeah. So another tension problem that I noticed, the writing is okay, but I noticed some of the threads are pulling up. Did you take note of that too?
I noticed they're different thicknesses. This one, like at the bottom of the 2, it feels like it's been gone over a couple of times.
That entirely might be. I didn't even pick up on that.
And if you look at the 0, oh, maybe it's just my eyes. It looked like there was another layer of it underneath, but it's just the way it sits on top. It doesn't sit very nice.
And I noticed too that there's a lot of kind of warping. It doesn't look flat and nice.
Puckery all over.
All of it. Yeah. All of it. So do you think what do you think they did for stabilizer?
Not enough.
Well, what do you want to bet that there isn't any?
Yeah, there's probably a good possibility.
No, you have to bet me. I'd like to win $10.
What are we gonna bet? You want $10?
Yeah.
All right, $10.
Do you think there's backing on it though?
No.
Ah, well, that's not a good bet.
Oh, you don't think there is? All right, I'll take the high side.
You think there is?
Tearaway. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there is tearaway. All right, I'm not betting. I'm not a betting person. Let's show the camera here. There is tearaway. So hey, that looks great on the back. But who's going to see the back? And there is actually, after so many years, she's had this, my daughter has had this for a long time. there are still pieces of tearaway coming off the back, if you can believe that. So what should you be using on the back of a sweatshirt for this huge design? So I think this design went on a 6x10 hoop, probably a multi-needle commercial, I'm guessing.
I probably would use a heavier cutaway.
Cutaway.
Yeah.
So, because I would like, because this is thin lines, I would like the whole thing to stay flat and look fresh.
Yeah.
And cutaway, when you trim it around all the way around here, will hold everything, and so you won't have the wobblies. Can you see the wobblies? Every time my daughter wears this, I make a comment. So she said, why don't you just do a show about it? So I said, okay, and here we are. But all the threads coming out, and I do see bobbin here, and more threads. I think you need to check your tension on this one and make it thicker. So, you know, it's not the worst that I've seen, but I would like to see people doing better embroidery than this.
Yeah, I'll agree. I noticed too with the lettering, they're using a satin stitch, but it splits a lot and in weird places, like on the L here.
Yeah, I noticed that on the L.
Here.
You know what I think that is? I think instead of using an ESA font, they used a True Type font and just converted it, because that is a really weird place for the L to do a satin stitch. And I don't think they're too big that they should be splitting.
No, they shouldn't be splitting at all.
So I think it was basically auto-digitized and used you know, a TTF font instead of going for the professional embroidery ones, which are ESA. ESA fonts are well worth it. They're the same as your built-in fonts, and I think that would improve this completely. Even these letters would be improved.
I can think of a couple of ESA fonts offhand that would look much better than that.
Much better than that.
Give it the same effect.
I think it would have been better, and of course being straightened. So. I think we've pretty much closed this case. What do you think? Do you think a home embroiderer could do better than this?
Pretty close. I do want to note one other thing. Did you notice that's auto-digitized?
No. How can you tell?
Over here.
Oh.
The way the satin angle, it turns almost to a tatami and then goes back into satin again.
Yeah. So it was auto-digitized. And you know what? That's probably what
the lettering is.
The lettering is too. And that's why here, Don was pointing out the two. And we'll zoom in on this in a picture, that it seems thicker. That's what auto-digitizing does. So
that's exactly what it
does.
The
solution is you can digitize your satin stitches here, digitize that yourself pretty easily, and you can make nice connections and use ESA fonts for the letter. So what do you think? Case closed?
Case closed.
Do you think a home embroiderer could do a better job than this at $120 a shot?
I sure would hope so.
I would hope so too. So thanks everyone for watching. We're going to stitch you later. Stay tuned for the next embroidery case files, and hopefully we'll close another case.
Good night, everyone.